Hello everyone. In previous topic we have studied about kernel. Kernel is the main important part of the operating system. So operating system does its all work through the kernel. We have seen that kernel manages the communication between the hardware and the software. So it is like an intermediary between the software and the hardware. We also seen the responsibilities of the kernel like CPU. So to execute anything with the CPU, it needs the kernel. Next is RAM we have seen. To distribute the RAM among various applications, it needs the kernel. Next we also seen input-output devices. So to distribute or to allocate the input-output devices to various processes, it needs the kernel. And also to manage the other remaining memories, it needs the kernel. We also seen the architecture of the kernel. In that we have seen the two modes of the operating system, that is the user mode and the kernel mode. So the application which are run by the user are under the user mode, and so the applications which are executed by the kernel are related to the hardware or memory, and the user cannot interfere in the kernel's operations. So the user cannot directly interact with the kernel. So in today's topic we'll see about transition from user to kernel mode. Transition from user to kernel mode. First, let us understand what is this user mode and kernel mode, and how the interaction happens between this user mode and kernel mode. Now suppose we are users and we on our laptops, systems and use any applications. When we are using any applications, that time we are in user mode. But operating system full functionalities work in kernel mode, and the processor will be switching between user mode and the kernel mode. So how the switching should happen between the user mode and the kernel mode? Processor will see that if I am using a Linux operating system and I opened a text editor to type a program, that means I am working in user mode, and in that program I have written that a program have to read a file and write some data into a file. So I have written that program to read a file and it should read something data from into the file. That file is available in hard disk. You know, we all store our data to the hard disk, that is secondary memory. So hard disk is hardware component, and all hardware devices will be controlled by the kernel. So user cannot directly access the hardware. It needs kernel's help. When I start executing the program, see the first step here, user process executing. That is, user is executing that program which we have written in Unix or Linux operating system or any other operating system. And in that program, I need to read a file. So if I want to read that file, means I need to use system call. As you all know that the user cannot directly interact with the kernel, so they have to use a system call for the interaction between the user and the kernel. So to read a file from the kernel mode, system call is used. System call is one way to access the kernel. So when get system call executes, the system goes to kernel mode. When it goes to kernel mode, the bit changes from 1 to 0. Earlier we were in mode 1, in the user mode 1. And when we switch from user mode to kernel mode, the bit also changes, that is bit becomes now 0. So whenever you switch from user to kernel mode, the bit changes from 1 to 0. And the trap will be generated after switching. Trap means it will not allow any other process to enter in the kernel mode. It is treated as an illegal. Next, when it comes to the kernel mode, it has the execute system call. So for every system call, some names will be given. So for this, for execution, the name given is execute system call. So it is reading the file from hard disk. Whenever it is executing, that it is going to read now the file from the hard disk. After reading, then goes back to the user mode and changes the bit from 0 to 1. So after reading the file, after writing into the file, it goes back to the user mode, and when it returns to the user mode, the bit changes from 0 to 1. Suppose if you are writing a program where you are calculating 10 plus 10 is 20 and you are in a user mode. If you want that output 20 to be displayed on monitor, then you need to access the kernel. You write in the program printf statement. So printf means you want to print something on the monitor, and monitor is in whose hand? Monitor is in operating system's hand. Then the system call will be generated and access the kernel and prints the value in monitor. So switching from user mode to kernel mode is called dual mode. Dual mode is very important in operating system. Now let us see types of kernel: monolithic kernel, macro kernel, and hybrid kernel. First we will see monolithic kernel. So in this diagram you can see there is a hardware layer, then we have kernel mode, then user mode, and then application. So all the important functions or the components of operating system are placed inside the kernel mode. File system management, process management, and memory management, and so on. So these components are also called as modules. So these components modules communicate with each other using the function calls, so that the communication is easy as all the modules are inside the same kernel mode. There is no any switching here. That's why the response will be fast and the communication and the execution speed is fast in these types of kernel. The entire operating system is placed inside the kernel. That is, every component of the operating system is contained in kernel and can directly communicate with each other simply by using the function calls. As I told you, all the important operating systems components are placed inside the kernel. So communication is easy and it is done with the function calls. As all the services are placed inside the kernel, they have a single address space and it is bigger in size. As it is like placing an entire operating system inside the kernel, obviously it is going to be bigger in size and it have a single address space, as at same place you find everything. Next, performance is high, no extra mechanism for handling of input output. Okay, as I told you, the execution is fast, so the performance is also fast here. The response from the system is fast. So no extra mechanism for handling input output is used, as everything is placed inside the kernel. No any switching and all between this. Next, execution is fast. Monolithic kernel is not portable. So different platform require different kernel. So it does not easily port to any other platform or any other operating system. Less secure. If one service fails, entire system crashes. Okay, this is because all components are in the kernel mode. So if something happens, if some of the service fails from the kernel mode, then the entire system is going to be crashed. Now let us see in which various operating system this monolithic kernel is used. So we find out monolithic kernel in this operating system: Windows 1, Windows 2, Windows 3. These were the earlier versions, and in earlier versions we find out monolithic kernel. And we also find out monolithic kernel in all Linux distributions. So these are the famous Linux operating systems like Ubuntu, Red Hat's Fedora. Okay, in your practical you are going to use the Fedora Linux, where you are going to execute all Linux programs. And Android uses a modified Linux kernel. See, even in the Android we also find out this monolithic kernel, but it is little bit modified. Monolithic kernel is less flexible for modifications and to add new features or to enhance existing features. So monolithic kernel is very important, and it is used in the famous Linux operating system as well as Android, but it is modified. So in the next topic we'll see the remaining two types, microkernel and hybrid kernel. Thank you.